For the next few minutes, we are going to take you through story, which is S-T-O-R-Y, to story, S-T-O-R-E-Y. Now, every story needs sutradhars, right? The storytellers. So here we are, ADITYA GOSWAMI from Architectonic Services, a leading architectural firm with offices in Kolkata and Delhi. And I am CHANDROMA, and she already read out a very long intro, so I will not introduce myself any further. Let's begin the story. Over to you, ADITYA.
Thank you. Am I audible? Please excuse me for my bad throat. Like Chandroma just said, we started with the story of this museum. And this museum, so the story, as we have kind of rehearsed, so the first story is the kahani, the story behind the project, the story behind the concept, and how that got built into, or is being currently built into the story, which is the stacked space that we are talking about. That is what our intent of this talk is all about. So as we all know that the Bangladesh War of Liberation made Bangladesh an independent nation on 16 December 1971. And to commemorate that, the government of India, through its force, the Border Security Force, mandated the construction of a museum at the Indo-Bangladesh border in West Bengal called Petropol. So this was, ladies and gentlemen, we must not forget, this was a war of the first kind, where one nation was being friends with another country to fight for its independence. And this war was not for expansionism, this war was for friendship. So I think, yeah, that embodies the exact spirit of the government of India. So this is what it ultimately was, a friendship between the then Prime Minister of India and the father of the nation of Bangladesh, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. So here we are. This is an impact photo that we have for you. This is what it would look like. We are very near to the completion of the project. So yeah, we start with the concept. Every building has its own story. And the story, when built across the space, the built space, is a wraparound. That wraparound, when is split in different stories, then it becomes a book of the story of the concept that it started with. And it's a storehouse. The museum itself is a storehouse to reminisce the war and celebrate the commemoration and to pay homage to the sacrifices that our armed forces and the Mukti Bahini of Bangladesh, they put together as sacrifice. So, like I just said that, you know, when you see a building, it's basically a wraparound. In here, you would definitely see the red wraparound because that embodies the bloodshed that happened during that time. It was one of the most gory bloodsheds to have happened in the post-Second World War world, and thus Bangladesh became a nation. So here, this is what the building looks like. We have deliberately taken a front facade view of the building because the state that I come from, Bengal, is one of the greenest parts of the world, where the tree and the foliage is the tree of life, and where two nations came together for friendship under the foliage of the green of Mother Earth and Bengal. So it's a story of liberty, transformation, growth, prosperity, and hope. If you see, like I just mentioned, red symbolizes bloodshed, and it glorifies the valor and the martyrdom of the forces that we proudly own, the Indian forces and the Mukti Bahini. So, why steel? So, we as architects, we have a typical role of stitching together concepts where it all begins as a piece of screenplay. And you know, a colleague of mine who happens to be my partner, so she came out with this concept that war is unforgiving. For all of us, none of us want a war. Steel as a material, ladies and gentlemen, is unforgiving. The precision that steel offers and the kind of, the kind of workmanship, as my speaker just before we started, the earlier speaker, she was also mentioning the precision that steel mandates. I think that is unforgiving. So to perhaps look at the war, which is unforgiving, which was unforgiving, we started our saga of steel. From here on, I would request my friend Chandroma to take ahead so that we go through the reality of the project and how it's been unfolded. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. So these are some more visuals of the project. And now we come to that part where we take it from STORY to STOREY, story. Introducing our structural engineer, Mr. Rahul Dingne. He's from Pune. He has a firm called Vastu Struct and a very good friend of both of ours. So while designing this modular building, he considered all the loads which are mentioned on the slide out there. And the structure is hybrid, modular, following the philosophy of shipping containers, but not using shipping containers. The existing ground level for the area was about 6 feet below the road level. So we converted the lower area into a semi-basement sort of a parking area. And from ground floor to first floor, it's a PEB with a deck sheet, on top of which it's RCC. That serves as the platform on which the entire building rests. So challenges. There will be challenges when you make such a building. And like many of our presenters who spoke yesterday and today, soil was a concern. The bearing capacity of this area soil was about 6. So we toyed with the idea of what kind of foundation to do and went ahead with raft because BSF's priority was actually time. So we had to finish off the entire project within 9 months. Now the top floor is an auditorium which is cantilevered between the 2 blocks. So there are 4 floors on one block and 3 on the other. They are connected through the cantilever portion of the auditorium. This is also the first time that we were designing using the container module philosophy, and the designs were done which required minimum working at site. It had to be a contemporary design. You already saw the visuals. And Aditya and Runa, who is another partner in Architectonic and partner of life of Aditya as well, their aesthetic requirements are just too much to be taken care of, but we did do that as well. Facets of the story. So every story has facets, right? 90% work was done at the factory. The sequencing of the dispatch had to be as per the erection requirement. We had to maintain very precise measurements. So our QAP had to be that strong at the fabrication level itself. And the slope coordination at the top floor, which has about 3 slopes connecting together, that was a pretty critical time. We used MSP to do all our planning, but our project planning control and management team, they said that we want a 360-degree continuous real-time monitoring of the entire project. So there's a complete CCTV recording of the entire project happening at the site level. It is a very sensitive area that we were working at. So logistics, hauling, with limited access to the site was also a big concern, but thankfully the team is doing well there too. HSE policy, process documentation, strict QAP goes without saying that we had to maintain. And this is, in brief, the timeline that we took. It's about 9 months. We started in October 2022, and by June 2023, we are handing over the project. I would request you to kindly play this short snippet. This is a glimpse of how the hero is being built. And with that, we are looking forward to the inauguration of this building towards the end of June or early July, when both the home ministers of both the countries can give time. Thank you very much for giving us the audience today and giving us an opportunity to present.